Greetings, everyone. Welcome to just another episode of Just My Thoughts. Um, I wanted to do a quick video. I had some things on my mind I wanted to sort of cover, and it's been a while since I've done a video. Um, so lately, I've been talking to a friend of mine, and it's got me really thinking about objective personality, and I don't know, because it's interesting. Like, it has a big community. There are a lot of people, and yet most of the people on that community are really into it. But in real life, like life outside the internet, um, most people I know don't really vibe with it. Like, I think there's certain almost inherent fear, or I'm projecting. That's not accurate. People don't really go with it, and their reasons are their own. Like, I don't want to try to speculate on that, because it could be many things. It could be fear. It could be just, oh, that's just not my thing. It could be a different way of going about it, what have you. So let me not try to project over the missing information. But it's really got me thinking about it, and I was thinking about, he was he gave me a lot to think about, and I was like, well, what if objective personality is not correct? Because interesting enough, people often feel like I think that I know everything. Right? I was actually with an argument with this guy at work the other day. He was like, "You think you know everything?" And I'm like, "Actually, that's totally not true." Um, so whenever somebody objects, I actually have to consider their argument. That's a. I think that's because I'm play first. Is what I suspect is the reason as to why, but I have to consider their argument. I think it's because I'm play first and then consume right after. That it's like I have to get the information from the tribe, and then I have to consume said information if I'm going to let it into my framework, which means I have to go through and piece it out if this accurate or not. So I actually do have to ask myself the tough questions if somebody objects with them. And it made me consider, like, all right, so what if objective personality is not correct? And the thing that I've come up with, I'm not sure if it matters. It matters in a certain sense of, if this was 100% false, then it would be like, yes, this is just a pointless exercise, and why include this into my mind, you know? Um, but since I see that is not the case, excuse me, I see that is not the case because when looking at reality, I'm seeing things play out from the objective personality system. Even things that I thought, okay, no, they can't be right about this, I've seen play out as well. So that leads me to the conclusion that it has to be correct in some sense because I'm seeing it in reality. Um, so, with that being said, I'm not sure if it matters after a certain point, if it matters if it's true or correct. And this, I'm speaking from my own perspective. Other people, depending on what you're using it for, it might differ. Um, so for me, I'm looking at it like this system has provided a nomenclature, a language to see these abstract things and discuss them and be able to process them in a way that I didn't really see before, on a level that I didn't really see before. Because I mean, you have other different personality systems, um, and you know they have some merit in that regard because they are also looking at the functions. But to my eyes, the way objective personality has kind of laid everything out makes it a lot easier to see and understand and process and to be able to discuss with other people. Um, and because of that simple thing, it has allowed me to look out into reality and see things that I wasn't really seeing before. And to have some kind of understanding, some kind of base of knowledge to look at these things and a lens through understanding them through. Also, internally, it has allowed me to do that within myself, which was one of the reasons why I even bothered with a personality system. It was one of the reasons why I even looked into that, was because I was noticing internal inconsistencies within myself, and that was my way of trying to get some better understanding of that. If that wasn't the case, then I probably wouldn't have never even bothered with objective personality or any personality system. But I was seeing these things within myself that I couldn't really articulate and I couldn't really understand. I could just see bits and pieces, but I didn't know what I was looking at. So having that system there to give you some kind of grounding and understanding, to me, has been extremely helpful. Now, I'm going to, and this is probably going to take some time because you're talking numerous books and numerous people, but I'm going to go and look at other sources as far as like Adler, Freud, Carl Jung, who was kind of like the originators in this field. And I'm going to look into them and try to get more understanding of perhaps the core of all these things. So I'm looking forward to the exploration of that. However, I still feel like the model of objective personality is well done, and I don't really feel a need to go to, we'll call them the elders, Freud, Jung, Adler, for information, because it's lacking. I don't feel a need for that, but I'm going to do it because I just like exploring, and maybe I'll come upon new things while doing so. But yeah, the objective personality system within itself, I just think it's a great tool. Um, and yeah, I've been using objective personality to sort of like the main thing I've been using it for is understanding myself, a better understanding of me. Um, Understanding of other people has sort of come as a byproduct of that, because it's just after you learn so much of the system, you start seeing it, and you start picking up things just out of interacting with it. But my main goal has always been a better understanding of myself. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, having my type has really helped me look at that, because I've always sought a better understanding of myself. And the more I look at the type that I was given, which I do believe is accurate, the more I can see the things that I've always done coming back to that. So like there's like a loop, right? Let me see, how can I illustrate this? All right. So let's say this is me, right? And let's say this is my personality type, right? Now, there's so much more to me than there is obviously to my personality type. But the more and more I look back on my life, the more and more I can see, even currently, how much me and how much my personality type just sort of loops around each other. It's like there's no way I could see like a person watching videos of me could get that good of an understanding of me to make this false personality type, and it would be so accurate. It would be so accurate that when I look upon myself back in my childhood all the way up until now, I can't help but see this personality profile. It's That's impossible. Like, for a person you've never met to be able to do that, what are the odds? You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm sure the counter argument will be like, all right, so maybe you're delusional. Maybe you're just seeing what you want to see. And again, I don't see that, because when I cross reference that personality file, that personality type, with, say, other stuff I've done, like the Big Five personality test, which it's looking at different measurements, but there is crossover, and those crossovers align. So now you're telling me two different organizations which look at different things are somehow aligning. Again, with me. And the Big Five personality, that was just me going through a computer picking answers. That's not even them like looking at me personally. Like, they don't see any video of me, anything like that. And it's like there's so much aligning that I can't help but you gotta respect the information. Like, even parts of me that at the time I didn't even see, I can see now are like accurate. And the amount of depth that I've explored myself, it The system gave me a tool that I could do that better. Because yes, I've always done that, but never have I had this level of depth and understanding of myself that I have now. Thanks to using this tool to explore myself. So, in a way, is it 100% accurate? Is it 100% true? There's so much truth in it. I couldn't say if it's 100% because I don't know what else I could use to compare it to say that. But I can tell you it's highly accurate. I can tell you that. And yeah, it's been a very helpful tool. I'm trying to remember where else I wanted to go with this. Like even this exploration, like I said, it's always been there all my life. That I think comes back to me having double masculine sleep, and that urge, that need for sleep processing is so strong. It is my strongest animal because it's the double masculine animal. And it's also my third animal, which is your hobby animal. It's what you enjoy doing. You do it for fun. So like just seeing that, yeah, it's been there so strongly. Looking back throughout my life, I could see that. Like I could see it in bits and pieces of me as a child, but not really. I could see like me more dependent on my saviors as a kid. But I see it coming more into play like during my teenage years. I think that's why I had so much of a hard time during my teenage years. Um, Actually, I do see it. I do see it a good amount. Like the double masculine sleep. Now that I'm thinking back on it, it was a strong. Like I don't think I did it as much, but it was very strongly there. Like my one of my most powerful issues I've ever had to deal with comes back to it, and that was just sort of like issues with my parenting, um, which took me. I didn't resolve until like my early 30s. It took me a very long time to get through that, and it did come back to that double masculine sleep. And it wasn't until finally getting a grasp and understanding on that processing that I was able to overcome that issue. So yeah, looking back on it, it does run all the way back. Because I mean, that issue began when I was in my early childhood. I had to be like 8 or 9 when I started having feelings in that regard. Anyway, I'm getting off subject. So yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. Um, and even in regards to like, let's say when you're talking about like your introverted, like even how it breaks down, you got your introverted decider, you got your extroverted decider, um, and those different aspects of you. So to me, I'm looking at almost as like your introverted decider is more like your identity, it's who you are to you, and then your extroverted decider is like your I would look at it as your persona. It's the part that you present to the world. Um, yeah, it's even like having that masculine introverted decider and a feminine extroverted decider. So it's sort of like I'm strong on the inside, and I don't really show or display much on the outside. Um, Even as far back as I can remember, I can see that. And I always thought that people on the outside was seeing what I was seeing because I was just looking at the inside part of me. And I was like, well, obviously, that, this is what they're going to see too. And I don't think that was the case because since getting into the personality system and stuff, I've been talking to people and asking them about how they see me, and the results I've been getting back is shocking. Like, people were not seeing me, still not quite seeing me how I see myself. And it's amazing how those two things don't line up. And objective personality is giving me a reason, understanding as to why that is. And yeah, it's so interesting because, like, my perception of me was I was this fucking idiot who I had strong values, but I wasn't very intelligent, and I didn't really. I don't know. I didn't really do anything. I saw myself as more of a sheepdog. Like, whatever my group, my friend group, my group of friends wanted to do, I was pretty much rolling with that, which I now know comes from the lead play. But I didn't have much that I wanted to do on my own. And I can still see that today. Like, the one thing I've always wanted to be an artist, and that has never changed. That is the deep part of me that comes from the internal part. But externally, hey, let's go here. You want to go here and do this? All right, sure. You want to go here and eat? All right, sure. Like, it's not really important to me. And that's again that sheepdog part of me. Like, we can do whatever. So I don't really push out into the extroverted world very much. All my things go to the internal world. This is, if you, probably doesn't make any sense if you don't know the system. But hopefully, if you know me, which I'm sure you probably do, if anybody's watching this, then you might have some understanding of what I'm saying. Looking back at my life and stuff. And yeah, so just coming to that understanding that people saw me differently than how I saw myself. Like, even talking to my best friend, he would say, like, oh, well, you've always struck me as a very observant guy. And then you thought about things, and then you would say something. And again, internally, that was not how I saw it. But externally, that's what I was displaying. Because I'm looking at my internal my DI, my introverted decider. Yes, I'm looking at my introverted decider, and I wasn't really paying attention to my extroverted decider because they were feminine. They were so almost unconscious. Now I can see them a lot better, and I'm somewhat more aware. But there still is a difference. I don't know if you can ever really going to 100% be kind of aware of both. Like, I'll give you an example. When I'm at work sometimes, and we have to switch off at work, like different workstations and stuff. and it'll be time to switch, and the guy come by, and I'll be like, I won't even say nothing. I'll see him come in and just be like this, like just indication, like, don't worry about it, I got it. And I didn't think anything of it. I thought, all right, I just told him, hey man, don't worry about it, I got it. And then I start getting like when I was asking people about how they saw me, and I started getting this feedback of, oh no, you're an asshole. And I was like, why do you think I'm an asshole? And he was like, you dismiss people. You're like, fuck out of here, And I'm like, dude, that's not really what I meant. That's not really what I was trying to do. But extrovertedly, that's how it's coming out, So it's interesting. Like, people think that I'm like this snobbish asshole, which is like, it's not. On one part, I want to be like, it's not accurate because I'm looking at my internal self. But on another part, I gotta accept that it's somewhat accurate because externally, that's what I'm doing. Those are traits that I'm projecting. So it's interesting to try to reconcile these two different parts of me. So that's something else I've learned. Like, you are multifaceted. Let me see. How can I display this? All right. So let's say, again, we'll use this as reference to me, right? So let's say all I see is this. This is me. Like, this is a part of me that's internal, right? And I'm looking like, well, you guys see like the bold writing, right? This is me. All this is just a display of who I am. And that's what I'm looking at all day, that internal part of me, right? What I'm not seeing and what other people are saying is, there's no writing here. There's no writing here. There's very little writing here. I mean, there's some writing, but there's very little writing here, and there's very little writing here. And it's like, yeah, I'm looking at this part of me, but not seeing all these other aspects of me, which the other people are seeing. And yeah, it's before this system, had somebody told me, no, you're an asshole, whatever, I would have just thought like, no, you are misjudging me. You got me all wrong. And it's like, no, I gotta accept that there are other aspects of me, there are other parts of me that I am not seeing clearly. Just like there are other parts of me that they are not seeing clearly as well. That internal part that they can't see is a part of me. But I am an amalgam of all my different parts. Anyway, this video is actually a lot longer. I was intending this to be just a quick 10-minute video. Just my thoughts about objective personality as a tool. I think that perhaps I've accomplished that. Perhaps I didn't accomplish that goal. You might watch this and be even more confusing than before you started the video. But as of now, I think that'll do. Thank you for the watching this. All 2 people that actually watch this, I guess. I don't know. All right. Enjoy the rest of your morning, and I wish you all well. Peace.